Got that little guy.
What's that?
He's got that little guy. I can
Right.
imagine recouping this.
Recouping with Daniel can't be easy, I'm sure. You know what, though, he's matured so much in just 2 years, or how long has Don been in the council? A year?
A little over a year.
I mean, such a difference.
Very well behaved.
And here, he's great.
Yeah,
You
those
see
first
2
couple
years
of
ago,
meetings were interesting.
you wouldn't have said, I don't know what to. What are you talking about? He was underneath the chairs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
The sound.
when our architect that worked on both projects were here, giving reports, he'd always be like, okay, see you. And Steve's just like, no. No.
It's kind of fun.
It was comical.
That's because I'm sitting over here.
That's because you have a grandson that basically does the same thing.
Worse. Pretty sure he's feral. 6 o'clock, we call the meeting to order. Everyone, please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hope everybody had a good 4th. I did. I didn't get any complaints. Christine, you have the roll?
Yes.
Okay. First and foremost, we need to approve this evening's agenda. Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second? I'll second the motion. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed. All items on the consent agenda will be passed in one motion unless there is an item which someone wants to remove to discuss. Councilor Seitz, would you like to move the approval of the consent, please?
Move to approve it and agenda.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. And we don't have anyone here for the forum, I see. Assuming. And with that, we are on to reports of committees and city staff. And that would be you, Mike.
Not a whole lot to report, just trying to maintain. Sick of the torrential rain when it does rain, washing everything out all the time. The building is coming along slowly, but it's getting there. They had a little setback there for a bit. They're back on track now, it seems, and that's pretty much where we're at. Just trying to keep everything maintained right now. We've been without some personnel the last few weeks here, so we're chugging along. Anything for me from anybody?
Did we get the well issue fixed that you discussed last time?
Waiting on time to come. Basically, they're packed, their schedule. Minnesota, there's only so many months you can do things, so they're trying to fit us in when they can. We're monitoring closely right now, and something changes and it's dire and urgent, they've let us know that we can call on them and they'll get here ASAP if we really need it. So we're sitting pretty good still with it, moving along. That's all I have.
Most part.
Short and sweet. Every time it rains, the wind seems to come at 80 miles an hour and we lose another tree or some limbs or wash out half the park. And so it's just, like I said, we're in a maintaining pattern for this summer. Basically, there's not a whole lot of growth going on out there this year. We've talked about the pavilion and all that. So at some point we're going to try to hopefully get some grass and stuff out there and try to slow down some of the erosion that's coming, but that's about it. we're doing good. The park's doing really good as far as reservations go this year. I know, I think we're already probably right around what we did for last year. I do
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, in terms of camping revenue, we're right up where we were last year, so.
And we've got a good bit of the season to go. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. I've got a feeling this will probably be, well, I know it'll be the best year since I've been here anyways, but I got a feeling it's gonna be the best year in a long, long time, if not ever. Lots of compliments on what we've been able to do. Just keep working and make it better every year out there.
Cause I had a couple guys stop down at my place, they were looking for firewood.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of in the back of my head, to try to figure out a way to do something with that.
I wasn't too worried, but
It's something I've kicked around though. It's
They
been a
were-
thought.
they were very complimentary on the condition of the park, everything.
Good.
There.
Well, we appreciate hearing that, and I always pass it along to the guys as well, so.
Okay. Anybody have anything for Mike? Anything else?
Thank you.
Sir. Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna come down here because that's places my papers. There we go. Okay. We're at the halfway mark of our first year, with our new addition. We are selling, we are increasing sales. We also are increasing our debt. You can see the expenditures that the spreadsheet that Christina had provided for us. So the issue being is that when we did our budgets, we were optimistic, and it just hasn't lived up. I mean, we're not losing money, we're just bulk of sales, I guess, our gross sales. For example, in January and February, generally are really good for us for our Lake of the Woods traffic and our Red Lake traffic, Red Lake Lake, not Red Lake City. But this year we had a very abundance of snow. Made all the lakes, made everything slushy, really hard. People who, yeah, they can take four-wheelers out and pop-ups, but they're gonna drink beer, they want to be in their house. So for example, in January, from projected, what we did for growth and compared to last year, we were down about $8,000 in January alone. 1,600 in February, 841 in March. April was 4,186. May was down 1,871. These are gross dollars that the off sale generates. We don't have a lot of payroll over there, so really you can tell, we can tell in our account, like in our revenue account, that we don't have that cushion. Right? In addition to that, our portion of the build, we had to provide, we borrowed some, but we get interest rate, and to get things, we had to have a down payment or a portion that we paid out of our revenue fund. So we paid quite a bit of that in 21, still some of that in 22. Okay. I'm not setting up this to like put the fear in everybody, but I just want you guys to know that we're aware and that we're trying to address it.
For it.
We're addressing it. So we're talking to Christina, and we've there's so many elements that are going into this, but we couldn't control weather. There's nothing I can do about gas prices, and we have noticed a difference. We can't, fuel prices, things are going up. People have a lot less disposable income. I mean, you can tell just in whatever. The good thing about them not going to Lake of the Woods, they only come so far north, so that helps. But, so the only thing that I can control right now to help offset is, in Christina's words, cut the fat.
Sorry, Shonda.
That's fine. So I sure wish I could. No. So kind of a twofold thing. First of all, reduce our payroll. Now when we opened, we didn't know how many people it was gonna take. We've actually changed it to pretty much 3 departments. Okay, so we've got, and we didn't know what this new kitchen would bring, right? We had, everybody was pretty inexperienced. Well, we had no one who had run fryers before, and in conjunction, learning process. People are becoming more efficient, right? So like, how do you feel comfortable cooking by yourself? Yes, I can. That's the thing we're going to do. We're going to try to not have as much overlap. This will put more responsibility on Melissa and I to be, if we're the manager on duty, we're at home, we get an SOS, we'll have to come in. I mean, rather than have someone there in case it gets busy, we're gonna have to do that. Really wanted people to have a really good experience. And when you're opening like a new business, grand opening, you're always overstaffing a little bit just to try to get a feel for the business, first of all. So that again, something I can control. Hours of business, or hours of operation. So right now, we are open 7 days a week. We're open from 10 to 11, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday and Saturday, we're open until 1 a.m. in the bar side. Off sale, those will stay, doesn't matter. You're gonna have the payroll there. One person can run it. I tried some summer hours on Sundays, try to get some people that are coming off the lake. I did an evaluation of dollars per hour. I won't I won't bore you with it, but with our new system, I can tell you how many dollars we produce in that hour, in this hour, in this hour. And I can do it by month, or I can do it by 6 months.
So you're looking at your productivity.
Looking at productivity,
Okay.
yep. So the hours we can cut would probably be Sundays. Not all Sunday, not all of Sunday, but bring back the hours to like 11 to 6, 11 to 7. The town kind of pretty much folds up at that point. But we as a city entity were like, intrinsic value. You have somebody coming through, they're like, hey, there is no place to eat in Blackduck after 6 o'clock on Sunday. It's the only place to eat in Blackduck after 7 any other day of the week. Okay. We're open on Mondays. Poor Willie's is not open on Mondays. So, not shortening that, going after that business is a good idea. But I mean, I'm just telling you this, kind of give you a review of what kind of asking you. Is it, I mean, it's not really worth it to be open, but is there going to be some upset people that it's not? Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I'm coming to you guys as a group of people who are running, you're running the city and I'm your employee. My recommendation would be to immediately do it. I've talked to some people that are scheduled for like our July schedule. I took it out. I said, well, how much money can we save?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna ask you.
So let me find my chicken scratch on it when I was
That's
talking to you
fine.
this morning.
I'm glad you actually pulled those numbers, because that's the one thing I didn't do.
Okay, so Christina tells me that our payroll right now runs us about $10,000 a month. That's a lot of money.
No, it's more than that.
Is it?
It's more than that.
$10,000 you
Your payroll 14 was 20,000.
So $10,000 every 2 weeks?
10,000 a week. 20,000 a payroll. But that's everything that comes out of cash. That's your wages and your benefits.
And
Okay.
$40,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with this, we can multiply the savings by that much too then. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so let's say a week. I figured it would be approximate, well, if we do what we say we do, it'll be $1,400 a week. Because I just took the
Yeah.
wages that you gave me, that average wage number, that
So you just
you
did
gave me
Yeah, you just
raw,
did
so this is
wages.
not,
That's
this is
fine.
not benefits.
Yeah,
Okay, so raw wise, and then we averaged it,
correct,
right?
correct.
Yeah,
So if I understand you correctly, you took that average wage that I provided you for all of your staff, the number of hours it is that we would be open and staffed for Sunday for both sides of the business.
what I did was actually, it comes up to about 110 hours a month that we
Okay,
can cut immediately.
and that will help.
Right, but it's, so if you, yeah,
Is that enough?
right.
Yeah, we don't
Because I mean,
know.
I don't, because I think we were talking about two different things when she said that, because I wrote down each month, like 10,000 each
That
month.
was just payroll. That was just payroll 14 we just ended.
So that's a 2-week payroll.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
That is complete cash out of the 609 fund to fund wages, FICA, para, and benefits.
okay,
That's everything.
right,
That's how much came out of payroll 14 we just paid.
Right.
Out of 609. Considering, however, that there are small percentages out of my department's budget that come out of the 609 fund.
Right.
But it is like 2% compared to your fund.
Right. So, I mean, reducing wages, reducing hours,
Is a start.
is a start. Hey, it's not good, I mean, it's,
My question for conversation is we may need to, get a personnel committee together and just start looking at this issue globally. When Shonda and I brought to the personnel committee this new business structure for the departments, knowing the change of the business model was going to need this, what we added, those 3 full-time employees. I would love to be able to push this so that we get to a full year of using this business model to really see the benefit, if there is none, before we start cutting people. Because what I don't want to see us do is, when I say cut fat, I don't want to start laying people off.
no, no. I don't wanna do that either.
I don't think that's anybody's goal, and I wouldn't expect it to be, but
One of the problems that the cash is the narrative problem. The problem is that we already set the operating budget up for this year to account for 5 full-time employees, benefited employees, and knew that the revenue we take in, we would be able to cash flow.
Yep,
The problem initially that we have right now is essentially what Shonda has said. She's behind on some of her gross sales year to date. The amount of our cash balance we have always had in the 609 fund has always been to cover a bad month in sales. And we had to put up cash last year and part of this year to take care of this expansion. And we have not been able to play catch up. Usually at this point in the year,
right,
we are at a turning point. I'm afraid that turning point may not happen, and I don't have a crystal ball. But we typically have enough cushion to get us through the first 6 months to be able to change the fund's gross margin to be able to flip a profit by August and September.
right.
And we're not there.
We usually start the year upside down.
Correct.
We usually do.
Our book inventory,
Yep.
what we
because
own
of-
it at and what we pay for it is completely upside down until we hit about halfway.
Right, and then that's when, you know, obviously. Fall quarter, we're like a retail, fall quarter is our big year, that's our
Big year.
making money. And in the past couple of years, we have not gotten to that either. In 2020, we didn't get that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and not to blame COVID, but if you look at the chart, you can
Yeah.
see that the on sale side is really down. And that has more gross profit dollars in it.
Yep.
And that
And the off sale side.
than the off sale side does. I mean, they work together, they're like, it's one business, but, so that we were not able to fill the coffers as much. 2021, still feeling that pain of the on sale side. Yeah,
Because if you look at the spreadsheet that Shonda and I worked on to provide to the council for review, you can see that the operating costs for the most part have remained fairly steady in the last 6 years. The only thing that's really spiked is the payroll because of the major change.
right.
But in correlation to that, the revenues have spiked as well. So I don't have, and I know Shonda doesn't have an exact answer for the city at this point either, but there's a part of me that wants to trust the faith that we are putting into this business model, that in 4 more months, we're gonna start seeing it turn. The only flip side that I have comfort knowing is that at this point is usually when I start making transfers from the liquor fund to the general fund. But it's usually out of those cash
cash reserves.
balances. Because of that balance, we do not have a full-time second police officer we're paying for right now. So we are actually saving money this year. It's not hurting the taxpayer at this point. It's not where we want to be on a general fund standpoint, but that doesn't solve the problem or the potential problem we could be in with liquor.
But yes, and I would, on her point, I would like to get a personnel committee meeting started, or we, you know, and talk about those positions and,
Because when you start looking at raw numbers for 3 additional benefit employees, you look at, you know, the annual contribution for that benefit, but then now you're also looking at just 3 more people with 12 paid holidays a year
yeah.
times their wages.
Right, and then, we have some vacation that we're doing, so,
Which you earn.
so like in one of those payrolls, I was on vacation,
Mhm.
so then we had to have somebody, so that actually adds to your payroll. Rather, don't want to not do that, because you're gonna end up paying the vacation anyway. Out
And
of
when
that-
we do your payroll budgets, Shonda, I factor in
Right.
2,080 hours for a full-time employee.
Right,
So it doesn't matter.
Right.
Regardless
So,
if you're on vacation
but-
or not.
for this moment, for this city council meeting, we are going to propose that I take and just try to reduce some of the overlapping. It might be a little drop in the bucket, but a couple grand is a couple grand. Okay, and then we would like to take,
You need this?
I got this kind of. So if you look at our fund balance report, that's this guy right here.
Mhm.
Okay. In the liquor rent fund right now, we're in the positive, so that's good news. We got $3,720 in there.
That's your fund.
Yep.
The next one down is the
Yep.
rent. Okay.
Yep, the liquor rent fund has got 16,780, what it says.
Yep.
Got really tiny. So what we're proposing is that Christina transfer $10,000 from that liquor rent fund into our regular revenue fund. Just to, you know, be safe, we don't want to overdraw, kind of thing.
And before I have too many more questions on that, what I'd like to report to the council is when the auditor comes and reviews our financials for the previous year and reports to the state auditor all the expenses and all the revenues for the liquor store, that liquor rent that you see coming in, if you look at her income statement, even though it's in a reserve account, okay, it hits her P&L.
Yep.
Okay, the contributions you guys do, donations, and the rent, in and out, both hit her P&L. So that's why I try to keep you guys under budget when you're making donations, and when somebody wants to give 10 grand to, I'm like ready to bite my teeth, but yes, we try to stay in budget for that because I know we're all generous and have big hearts, but it does hurt her P&L depending upon how much rent she's got versus how much we're giving out. So in closing, it's still under the 609 fund. It is still money that actually belongs with liquor. It's just this city has chosen to use that money to provide to the entire community. We don't even have a said policy generating that.
No, we have
Ability.
recommendations.
Pardon me?
We have recommendations.
We have recommendations. Yep. Yep.
Well, and I mean, and I'll tell you a little thing about way back when Charlie Coleman and those guys were down there. That whole thing just stayed down there.
You need to do a backstory because
So, they
Lori
come-
probably doesn't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so back there, it used to be before, because I mean, the state regulations in the 80s, this has been gotten whatever, but it used to be that you could give your employees that money because it's for employee wages, so they just broke it up and said, here. I mean, in like way back when,
Yeah.
obviously.
And if
there's-
you're a private business,
Yeah,
sometimes they do that. It'd be a bonus, whatever it
yes,
might be.
you sold this many boxes without being incorrect, but anyway, so I mean, it's just a question we'd like to do, just keeping ourselves, they would still allow $6,000 for if there's special projects or if they need something, for the community.
Is this something it's not really council consideration, then you'd like a motion on this and pass it this evening?
Yes, I wrote council consideration because I knew it was going to be a new topic that we needed to give a lot of information for, but yes, I would prefer that this request be moved on tonight. I would prefer to see that cash balance or that cash account higher than what it is right now.
So she can sleep at night.
I can sleep at night. I mean,
And she'll allow me to sleep at night.
the other element to this month's bill batch coming out of 609 that is probably higher than any other point in the given year within the year is that it is July 11th. The last time this council met and approved bills was June 6th. So we're a month plus a week into a bill batch that is getting approved when a normal month for the liquor store is somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000 to be paid. This is all the distributors, our electricity, all are operating, minus payroll because we pay that out of the fund as it goes. Our next month going forward is August 6th is the next meeting. So it's gonna ebb and flow as the bill batches get created and spent down and paid for. You had something you mentioned to me this morning about your buyout for 4th of July.
Well, they've spent all of June, we spent all of June buying up for the 4th, knowing that they're like, well, we're gonna send in extra, And we sold, and it
For
was
inventory,
good
yeah.
sales. I mean, we really had good sales in June. And then July 4th came, they sold, and then it was empty. Well, then all the beer guys are like, let's fill her up. So those bills, we paid those too this month.
Oh, okay.
And
I mean, we do have the sales from the fourth, because.
Yeah, we do.
So we have the sales, but. Yeah.
And one of the other reasons is when you have a liquor license with the state of Minnesota, whether you're a municipal or not, you have to pay your distributors in whole within 30 days.
Yep.
You have to pay that
2-0.
30s, 2-0, or they will stop bringing you freight. So
The state puts you on a list.
they put you on a list. Bars do it, restaurants are done it, everything. So there's no, we don't have we look very carefully when we're doing our bills, what date that bill was due on to pay. And we look forward to seeing when that next council meeting is to approve that bill, to make sure we're within those parameters. Right now, we're probably gonna get a couple of our big ones going, where's my check? Because it's the 11th. That's another reason why I try really hard not to put our meetings too late in the month.
Well,
You just,
with everything that I've heard, I would have no problem moving funds.
Okay.
I would also just like to know for sure that we're doing what we can. I mean, I see this as an interim.
Solution, yes, a Band-Aid on the wound, yes.
You know, I don't see it as a permanent thing. I see it as a temporary solution. Because, well, who knows how the game thing goes, or at any rate, nobody has a crystal ball, but
Right.
as long as we're doing what we can to remedy this, I would strongly recommend, the council recommends that we do a personnel committee. And look at the long-term effects.
I would also like to know to the board that this transfer is not gonna come back into the liquor rent fund. So I would not expect the council to expect the liquor to pay that fund back.
Nope. Nope.
Well, I want to put that out there, Max,
Well,
because I don't want there to be any interpretation that it's a borrowing of this
Right.
fund.
And if I may, we've had some really clean months with our pull tabs.
Oh,
And have
absolutely.
utilized and have taken advantage of the most that they can give us, that they can pay us, the very
Yeah.
most.
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
at the
it's-
highest rent.
Right, so like $1,700 every month. So, you know, it will,
Exponentially, if pull tabs grow, so does that rent.
right,
I would like to
percentage.
see, I just want to know that we're doing that. I mean, let's set a meeting.
for a personnel meeting, yeah, we can, and with,
3 of the 4 of us are here right now. Dawn's the only one missing. So,
I know, but I mean, I'm sure we have to have a council member present.
yeah, I need to know that he can make it. I would just like to try to get it in the next week, so we don't get too,
Well, if we could reach out to,
most definitely.
Yeah,
all right.
need a motion here?
Yes, Lori. would
I'll
you
try it.
make one?
I'm trying. So I motion that we move 10,000 from the rent fund to the liquor fund 609.
I have a motion.
I'll second.
And I have a second. Is there any discussion about this? Any other questions? All clear what we're doing?
So I have a first from Lori and a second from Nick.
Correct.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Make sure that's tomorrow, and I'll try to group text everybody on the date. I think the best thing for us to do as a personnel committee is to try to meet before the next work session, so we can regroup on this to the council at the next work session.
That would be great.
So we don't lose sight of it.
It's like the 20.
25th, I think, yeah, I
Well-
got it on the agenda.
Never mind.
I have just a question for Master is, what topics do you expect for us to, what resolutions, what are the topics that you would like us to address at this meeting? Specifically,
Specifically?
Yeah.
payroll.
what we're doing, how much it is, what, kind of break it down by department.
Break it into what's going where, are we putting money where the best place is? Is it, you know? Do you need 5 full-time benefited employees?
Well, and
I
I,
mean, is this,
and I-
I something just to look at as a whole, because this model, as we've stated, is it hasn't been a year, but apparently it's pinching a bit.
There's so many factors to go into it too. It's so hard to look at the dollar.
I
amount, you know, for
think-
sure.
I think that the payroll portion of the total picture is probably about 25% of the cash flow issue. So 25% of it is that we had
But that's about the only thing that the personnel committee
to control.
can really. Otherwise, if you want to have a liquor committee meeting about what hours you should be open and what other things like that, that's another story. But that's about the only thing that the personnel committee can do is when.
Right, well, there's only two ways you can reduce your payroll. You can work with less people and you can work less hours. Only 2 ways.
Correct. And that's what the personnel committee.
But we can definitely discuss it and see if that's an option. Shonda's gonna know truthfully if she can do that or not. But I mean, the Sundays is kind of hit or miss, Shonda, you know, are you gonna be able to
Are
cut
the
your hours
Vikings
on
gonna have a
Sunday
good
with,
season?
without a ton of?
There's
Yeah.
that
It-
5% issue.
Yeah, I mean, can we really just cut our Sundays without a whole lot of issues? I don't know. I mean, it's always been, you know, we set a resolution a long time ago. Because I think Mr. Patch was still on the council at that time, to provide the manager of liquor operations to make that decision on hours of operation.
Right.
You've been able to maintain that very well for the last 5 years. And if you need to and see fit, because you did it during COVID and you're doing it now, that if Sunday is a day that you believe is gonna help reduce some costs, then you have the liberty to do so.
Yeah, I mean, you look at sales per hour.
We're counting on you.
I know, I just wanted to let you know that there could be some things that
That
are
could
gonna
backlash,
happen, that
yeah.
are going to backlash to you. I mean, obviously, they're going to me and your household, in fact, your personal household could be impacted.
But we have to take the personal element out of it.
Well, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh,
that
yes, yes,
So he understands, I mean, you know, that
yeah,
he knows that this is going to cause,
I-
it's a
Thanks.
bigger issue than us.
yes.
I'm very aware.
I bet you hear too much. Too much. But
Right.
yes, I will, I'm gonna propose out, we've got I've talked to some people already and said, you know, can you handle this shift? You know, is it something that you feel that you can do on your own now?
Yeah,
Like I said, people are learning, people are faster. I told one employee today, I said, you know, our little lunch rush today, I said, when you first started back there, you'd have been like, now it's just old hat. So, you know, getting people up to speed in a new environment. So there's places that we can do it, and we'll start doing that. The next,
Believe me, I don't make any of these suggestions or I lightly.
no, I don't. I mean, that's why I was saying, that's why.
Yeah.
Hats off to you, I guess, is what I was saying.
it's just, our business model's changed so much in just a very short amount of time, with the kitchen being as big as it is. Your business is
That's right.
changed drastically in a year and a half, where what we would look beyond sale, the bar to be pre-COVID is not what it is right now. I mean, you just asked us to look for high chairs and booster chairs.
least one high chair and one loser chair.
We would have never done that in 2017. Never.
No, but it's a needed thing. that
Right.
people are saying, which is okay, that's where the business is going. But yeah, I just like wanted to make sure that tonight that you guys had this, kind of knew what was going on and kind of be like, hey, we're looking for answers,
and-
we're looking for,
And it's, for transparency, the board needs to understand that we're well aware of this problem. Did I expect it to get to this point? I was hoping it would.
right,
I really was. I've been watching it for about the last 3 months.
yeah, me too.
And I wouldn't doubt that Mr. Counselor Johnson did not want to bring that up last meeting, but he misspoke when he asked for. the
Right,
liquor-
that's why I
liquor
was
statement to come
hoping
on the
he was
consent
here.
agenda.
Right, that's what I was hoping he was here.
Yeah.
So,
Because I'm sure he had a lot of questions.
right. Yeah, and then you guys that you're like, if you have questions later or something, I'm open to come down and see me in my office and we'll look it over. Or, I mean, you have concerns, anything. Want to know what it looks like. Want to take a look at what I can see, as far as sales wise per hour, anything like that. I try to print it, but it comes out like very, very tiny.
Does not.
I like the font.
No, I mean mine, but down there, if I print it directly off of the thing, it's like little tiny bars.
Well, anything else for Shonda?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to talk about the golf course?
Well, I wasn't sure if Misty was gonna be able to show or not, but I did want the board to be aware of what I've been doing for the golf board, even though we haven't had a board meeting. I provided kind of a quick snapshot aside from the income statement to the board a month ago as to where the department was through, it was like mid-June. And I knew that when June was done, that would be a really good time to really show the board really what the golf course has been able to do. And then when I did that, a golf board member asked me to break it down. So what you're seeing here is a result of that request, and they have this report too. Just so you can truly see, just like we did for Liquors Fund, the exponential changes that the department has been, taking on and doing between revenue and expenditures. But when you break that down as to how much has changed out there, just like liquor store, the business itself has changed a lot in a very short amount of time. And it's been able to provide a service to the public that wasn't there before. And I see that continuing to increase as time goes by. I'm hoping for the better so that at some point.
I see some things are down, some things are up.
Yeah.
What I see this year is, look at that, we're $1,000 short on the cart rentals, but it rained a couple times, so.
A couple. But yeah, I mean, even without, our liquor transfers and, you take those donations that Misty's been able to generate to that fund. The department is doing decent. It's taken on a lot more expenditures, but it's also used some of those donations directly gone to it. So, it's doing okay. We'll have to see how the rest of the summer goes by.
Quick question
Certainly.
on total revenue, and I mean, I see we have donations on the very last column up top,
Yes,
17,000.
yes, that's with that.
The 91,000 is included.
Yes,
Or that includes the 17.
it does.
Then how are we not like at least 17,000 ahead of 21?
If you look on the liquor store transfer column,
Is that
In
There it is.
21, we hadn't provided that 10,000
There
to
it
the
is.
golf fund yet.
Thank you.
And we haven't done it this year either, so they would wash themselves out.
Okay. Want to make sure I wasn't looking at government now.
Well, you know, my math is a little goofy. A lot of people told me that. I do things backwards. I don't know. Does anybody have any questions about that? I thought a snapshot would be better. Some people don't enjoy looking at my
But-
statements.
I think when you look at the liquor store and the golf course and you see the lines, the overall revenues going up,
Up.
up. It's still overall a positive, but like John said, just a little caution.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and
I
that,
see,
not to beat liquor again, but if you go back to that, that's through July 11th, excuse me. That's through the weekend, July's income that I have on here, and that's $155,000 more year to date than 21 in revenue at the liquor store. That alone pays for payroll and 1 month's bill batch right there. It's just, everything is going this way.
well, if that's all we have for the golf course. Mike, was there anything you could add to the golf course? I know you spent quite a bit of time.
Working on the irrigation system out there. Most of the bugs have been worked out at this point. One small one left with a system fault that's been happening and trying to get that figured out. Other than that, you know, we've really gotten the water system kind of figured out there. I think it was years past not really utilized the proper way, the right way, between Misty and myself. And spent some time with MTI out there and really figured out how the system should be working with the addition of the new variable frequency drives out there to kind of streamline things a bit. Coming along in that sense of things.
Okay.
So I've learned more about the golf course than I really wanted to. But
How's it with all the rain, the washout kind of style rains, the parking lots?
the parking lot is a nightmare.
All right,
You know, just like kind of a couple of our gravel roads over on the southeastern part of town there. They get enough slope to them, and with that rain, you know, I mean, when you get an inch in 20 minutes,
Yeah.
the velocity is just pushing everything, so trying to maintain it best that we can. You know, the golf course, soft spots, of course, here and there, and they've been roping stuff off from what I've seen and trying to keep people out of them and doing their best to fix them when something does happen, so.
Yeah, I actually spoke with Misty last week for a long time, and we talked briefly about the new rough mower too, and she said she's really happy to have that. She can have, her staff can get the roughs mowed in 2 days,
Yeah, if not a little less. I
a
mean,
little
they-
less than
they-
that, where in the past,
It was
like
all- it was all week.
Cal was taking 4+ days to do it, so it's really a time saver. So hopefully on the long term, it'll save on payroll and fuel.
Yeah, it's been, from my standpoint, what I see out there and what I've been dealing with, it's a long overdue addition for them to finally have a bigger mower for that.
thank you, sir. No, that's kind of on the spot.
Yep, no problem.
Anything from library?
Not that we didn't cover, right?
I don't think so,
There's
no,
nothing new, no.
we're still kind of in the holding pattern from the work session and still waiting on some of that new facility info to share with the board.
Well, let's move right along to the very short administrators
I
report.
know, I was thinking we'd be out of here in an hour, so let me move quick. The first resolution I have for the council to approve is just a revision of the annual appointments based on our discussion at the work session. So all I did was take somebody out, put somebody in.
Good.
So I would need approval of that, please. Next.
We want to make a motion? I'm just gonna start picking people at random.
This is, okay, I'll try, go for it. I motion to 2022-01 revision 03, resolution of annual appointments and designations for 2022.
Thank you. I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ron. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes.
B is a revised resolution from earlier this year. I updated resolution 2202 to add 2 additional election judges. Lorraine Warden can't make it to the primary this year, so I needed to find up to 2 people to take her place, which by doing this will provide me enough staff for the general election. Plus I needed it to be balanced, and Bobby Jo had already helped out on a couple of township elections, so she's already been election judge, which was great, and Kelly Yanks is more than interested in helping in the general election too, so by adding exhibit B, that should cover me, but I had to have this done by the 15th, so I need this tonight.
Okay. Need a motion?
Motion 2022-02 revision 01, resolution to appoint election judges for the 2022 municipal election.
I have a motion to approve this resolution. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes.
And then the last item I need action on is resolution to approve an excluded bingo license for the Chamber of Commerce. This will be their 4th and final free bingo license, and this is the license that'll provide them the ability to have bingo at the Backwards Fashion August.
Motion 2022-16, approving an excluded bingo application for Blackduck Area Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Thank you. Any discussion on it?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's passed also.
I just have 5 dates there for council. July 13th, this coming Wednesday, is the development core meeting here at 11 o'clock. The 20th, 2 p.m. is the next planning commission meeting. The 21st, the ambulance board is meeting here at City Hall. There will be joint powers that be as well, Max. Just to let you know.
I appreciate the update.
You're welcome.
Yep, make sure my
Your calendar's full.
calendar's good for that one.
Yep, July 25th will be the council's work session. That's 2 Mondays from today. And then August 8th is the next regular city council meeting. at
And
6 o'clock.
If that's not enough to bother you all, that it's already August at our next meeting.
Well, if that doesn't bother you, let me go through the election dates.
Jeez.
Uh,
Yeah, it's like,
Well, and I have another date to add in here, even that I didn't discuss. I have, okay, so June 24th to August 8th is absentee voting. So if anybody can't make it to their precinct to vote, you can go on the Minnesota Secretary of State's website, click on elections, and click on the section that says, how do I vote? You can there's a precinct finder. It's really easy to utilize. You can even request your absentee ballot and it'll get mailed to you by the county.
so there's no excuse to not vote.
Correct. On July 21st, at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., 3 of the 7 of us will be attending election judge training in person. They're also offering it online for those that can't make it. And then actually the 26th, I'll be doing head judge training as well. August 19th, at 5 o'clock. Primary election voter registration closed. Let's calculate. Primary election voter registration closes. That is in July.
Huh?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me why primary election voter registration closes on the 19th. I'm gonna grab my book. I can't be right on that. Must be looking at a different one. Because the
We
filing,
haven't even had a
I know, the filing period is the 2nd through
16th.
the
yet.
16th.
We don't have a primary.
No, you don't. Hang on a second. Next, not the only person that gets dates mixed up.
I'm really glad because, you know,
I'm not, elections goof me up just as much as they did everybody else.
I'm just hoping that we don't have to do any special stuff, special election.
Voter pre-registration, clause, primary election, July 19th, voter pre-registration closes. That's what that means. If you have never been registered to get, to vote, that ends on the 19th. That doesn't mean you still can't register at the primary.
Right.
Because Minnesota allows same-day registration. That's what that meant. It's supposed to be July, I apologize. And then the state primary is on August 9th, and polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. There is one more date that I did not put in here for election highlights, and that was going to be healthcare facility voting that our precinct provides for good residents of Good Samaritan. And I believe
Is it just the Good Samaritan or is it all the?
it is
area?
all of them, but typically all three entities, Serenity, Good Sam, and the other one up on Carlson. Shoot. All three of them are offered by the county to have
right.
healthcare facility voting. I believe my plan is to do. Yeah, I'm gonna do August 2nd as I'm gonna go to healthcare facility voting. That's the Tuesday prior, the week prior before the primary. And what that basically entails is myself and another election judge go to the facility. Any resident that has registered for an absentee ballot will be provided their ballot and assistance to do so. This year, we also have to provide them open balloting too, just like if they were coming to our precinct and they didn't register for an absentee ballot. They have the ability that day, I have to provide an additional 3 hours for people to come and vote on top of that. And I think that's it on election. Yeah. I have a couple other dates in there, but it's chamber and that would practice is coming up. Have you got any questions for me? Now that I've completely confused you on the election.
Well, just make sure you get your,
Wiped me out for the week.
I'm sorry.
make sure you get that stuff filed. Fine.
If you are
If
planning,
you are
yeah.
running,
I've already had a couple of voters call and ask when the primary is, who is running for this year's municipal election. And I've had to update those folks that the city doesn't offer a municipal primary, much like our county and state offices do. So that confuses some people when they move in to our town from a larger town. They expect there to be a municipal primary and there isn't one. I expect that this general election to be heavily attended though. I mean, with the gubernatorial election, sometimes it isn't attended that well, but I think this one's going to be probably as well attended as the 2020 election was. That's all I have next. Nothing?
nothing. I guess I'll be selling hot dogs again Friday. For the speech game, yeah.
Well, if you want to change it up, I've got, you can come down and sell hamburgers.
You know,
Do you need help?
I don't think so. I think she's got plenty of folks.
Interesting. My speech team youth has not been asked.
Hasn't mentioned it
He
yet?
has not mentioned it, even though I have asked.
Where is this at?
I wonder why.
At Family Foods, we set up a tent, so I
Oh,
thought.
I might be dropping them off anyway.
Right. 50. We'll put that out there.
Around the midday or?
Yeah, it's like 10 to 4.
Writing it down right now. Filling Gunner's schedule.
You're gonna go so hot dogs with mayors. That sounds like a great plan.
He'll enjoy that.
Put that on the resume.
He's really happy.
Does anybody else have anything? Citywide?
Adjourn.
A second.
I will second the motion. Seems to follow this direction.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.
Look, we did get on in an hour.
Awesome.
Because of that short administrative report.